So, I wanted to talk a little bit about how not to rage at games, specifically for Honor, though. I have a lot of experience in being an angry little baby in this game, so I feel like my tips and tricks might help some people out, especially since how easy it can be sometimes to do that in especially this game. The main thing I think is really important is reframing what victory means to you. So what I mean by that is that, going into a game of, let's say, Dominion. Now, I feel like Dominion, for me at least, is probably the most rage-inducing game, but it doesn't have to be, because you can realize that Dominion is not always about the big victory screen at the end. It's not always about the win. And while, don't get me wrong, winning is nice, you have to focus on what you can control. You cannot play four people at once, nor can you control what your teammates do, even if they are your friends. So we need to narrow our focus down to what we can control, which is ourselves. Since we can control what we do, we can be much more rational about losses and such. So let's say after a loss, you can look back on a match and go, man, I made a really good play here, or I stalled for a really long time there, or I played objectives really well this game, which segues into my next topic. Using more positive language. So this tip is about just how you think and talk. Instead of saying, my teammate's a fucking idiot, man. Use some different phrasing, like my teammates aren't helping them that much, and I need to step up my game. You can see this one phrase. I have, lifted myself up because I believe I can clutch. I reframe the situation, as we were talking about before, and instead of being mad at a random dude who I don't know and might just be having a bad day of the game, I'm focusing on myself. So, a quick little example here. I'm fighting the shinobi, just giving the good old Warren Bash spam, and then after I beat him, he spams sorry at me. Now, I could have just, in this situation, gone back and started spamming him too, but I didn't find the need to, because I am, as I said before, focusing on myself and what I am doing. So, like, it's easy to get worked up and start, like, spamming back, because, it's the way we've almost like been taught to do it. Like, you see chat spam, you give the chat spam back. But I feel like that is something that, you can avoid, because instead of getting invested in a situation that is realistically very silly, you are stepping back and just being like, oh, he's spamming the chat, good fight, and then continue focusing on the game, because that's all it is. It's just the game. So we can take a step back and just say good fight and move on. So here's a little tip I learned from my friend, and I'll show you how to do it right now. But it's turning off the quick chat. I never thought of doing it because it's just like a part of the game. But he said, yeah, I turned it off and I've never been happier. And he's right. When I'm having a day where I don't feel like dealing with the bullshit, I turn it off. I'll show you how to do it right now. Alright, so what you're going to want to do to turn off any sort of quick chat functionality, and if you're on PC, you can also join in and turning text chat off just automatically instead of having to cycle through it every time. So what you want to do is you're going to go to user interface. It's always just down here. By the way, another great tip, if you want to get rid of any sort of exclamation mark, like en masse, just click this and remove, and it'll auto uncheck everything. Like you checked everything. It's great, but besides the point. You want to go down to quick chat, and if you just want to see your teams, you can do that, but I prefer to keep it all off. It's surprising how distracting it is. And if you want to turn off, if you're on PC, you go down to text chat privacy, and you go all the way to group, which means only people in your group can text you. This, however, does also mean that if you're with other PC people and they text in all chat, you won't be able to see it, even though you are like in a group with them or on a team with them. Same with team chat. So just a little tech tip, if you would. So my final tip is probably the most important one, and it's knowing that being angry is okay, and it's a natural thing to feel. Just because this video was a guide on how not to rage, that's specifically rage at games. Staying angry and continuing to be angry after the fact. If your teammate like hits you with a ballista, and it causes you to lose a fight, you'd be like, wow, that was really annoying. And then you move on because it was a one-time thing and you don't have to like worry about it anymore. But, and just being like, yeah, that was really annoying, that was angering. And then you move on. Because being angry in the moment is a very natural thing to feel, and it's different for everybody. So just because one person, for instance, might not be that angry all the time, doesn't mean that you have to imitate that. So the most important thing is knowing your own levels of anger and what's okay, and then trying to, and if you think it's a problem, you can always change it. And these tips are meant to be gradual. Like, you don't have to implement all of these perfectly right now, because that would be impossible. We need time to change. So if you went into this video and you learned even one thing about something that you do and something that you can do differently, I think it's very important to try to just focus on that and know that you can change. Because you can change, and even though it feels like no matter what you do, you will always be angry at this game, you can always try your best to change that. And I think that is a really cool thing that is underrated about people who play video games in general. If you can adapt to an opponent's entirely new strategy, you can adapt to thinking about a game slightly differently. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here and just finish out the rest of the game, and I will see you all in the next video.